Got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught.
Bill Maher has made a name for himself as one of the most outspoken critics of the so-called woke culture that has been taking over the mainstream media, the political landscape, and even our everyday lives. And recently, he set his sights on none other than Whoopi Goldberg, a woman who has been known for her unfiltered and often controversial comments on The View. But when Whoopi Goldberg made a statement that Maher couldn't just let slide, he did what he does best. He went after her with everything he had, leaving no room for excuses, no space for compromise, and no way for her to escape the sheer force of his critique. Maher didn't just offer a gentle disagreement or a polite rebuttal. He completely destroyed her arguments, tearing into her position with the precision and sharpness of a seasoned debater. The result was a verbal takedown that sent shockwaves through the woke crowd, leaving Whoopi scrambling for cover. And if you know anything about Bill Maher, you know that he doesn't hold back, and he doesn't let people get away with spreading misinformation or engaging in intellectual dishonesty. This particular drama unfolded during an episode of The View, when Whoopi made a comment that struck a nerve with,
"Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually..."
Bill Maher. Whoopi had argued that Black Americans didn't have time to indulge in the ongoing need for rich white people to engage in self-flagellation over societal issues. According to Whoopi, Black Americans just want prices to drop, better job opportunities, and reliable police services when they need them. Maher, of course, took issue with this. His argument, though, wasn't just about disagreeing with Whoopi's statement. It was about pointing out the broader implications of the woke movement and the way it distorts reality to fit an ideological agenda. Maher's critique was sharp, focused, and relentlessly logical. He questioned why, if Black Americans were so interested in policy change and economic opportunities, they hadn't voted for the former prosecutor who actually had concrete policy plans to address the issues that affect working-class citizens. For Maher, the issue wasn't just about Whoopi's particular take, it was about the entire mindset of the progressive left, which he believes has become disconnected from the needs of ordinary Americans. And Whoopi, in her attempt to defend the progressive agenda, dug herself into a hole, floundering as Maher systematically picked apart her arguments. He wasn't just calling her out, he was dismantling the entire narrative she was trying to sell. But this wasn't just a one-off critique.
Criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time, and, they act so self-righteous.
This was part of Maher's broader mission to push back against what he perceives as the moral and intellectual bankruptcy of the woke movement. Over the years, he's become a vocal opponent of what he sees as the left's increasingly authoritarian tendencies, and his confrontation with Whoopi was just the latest chapter in his ongoing battle. And if you think Whoopi was the only target of Maher's ire, think again. He had no intention of stopping with her. Maher has been on a mission to expose the hypocrisy of the so-called moral elites, especially those in the media, who like to position themselves as the ultimate arbiters of truth and justice, all while protecting their own at any cost. This is where the real drama unfolded. You see, Whoopi, like many of her progressive counterparts, has been quick to defend the actions of the powerful, even when those actions contradict the very principles they claim to uphold. One of the more shocking moments came when Maher turned his attention to the issue of Hunter Biden's pardon. The fact that President Biden had pardoned his own son, who had been embroiled in a scandal involving corruption and other questionable activities, did not sit well with Maher. According to Maher, this was a perfect example of the double standard that exists in American politics. If it had been anyone else, there would have been a public outcry, yet because Hunter Biden was the son of a sitting president, the entire situation was treated with kid gloves. Maher's point was simple. How can progressives preach about justice when they consistently turn a blind eye to the wrongdoings of their own?
Founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal.
And yet, that's exactly what happened when Hunter Biden, despite being guilty as sin, was given a pass. Maher didn't hesitate to call it out for what it was, hypocrisy at its finest. For him, the system was broken, and those in power were too invested in protecting their own to care about what was right. Whoopi, of course, tried to defend the actions of the Biden family, spinning her own version of events to justify the pardon. She suggested that Biden's change of heart came because he was simply tired of seeing criminals get away with their actions. But Maher wasn't buying it. He saw right through her weak arguments, pointing out that the truth was clear for anyone willing to see it. Hunter Biden had committed crimes, and the fact that he didn't face any consequences was a glaring example of how the system works for the powerful, but not for the rest of us. And this wasn't just about Hunter Biden. Maher was calling out the entire political system for its selective application of justice. He wasn't just attacking the Bidens. He was attacking the entire establishment that has allowed this kind of corruption and hypocrisy to fester. And in doing so, he exposed the woke left for what it is, a group of people who claim to care about justice and fairness, but who are more than willing to overlook those principles when it's convenient for them. The mainstream media didn't escape Maher's wrath either. In fact, he pointed out how the media had bent over backward to protect Hunter Biden and the Biden family, all in the name of defending their political interests. Before the 2020 election, major news outlets had actively worked to bury the story about Hunter Biden's questionable activities, fearing that it might swing the election in favor of Donald Trump. And after the election, they continued to downplay the story, dismissing it as Russian misinformation and labeling anyone who dared to question the official narrative as a conspiracy theorist. Maher didn't let that go unnoticed. He took the media to task for its role in perpetuating the very hypocrisy that he was railing against. He pointed out how the press had worked overtime to shield Biden from scrutiny, all while claiming to be the guardians of truth and integrity. To Maher, this was the ultimate betrayal. The media, which had once prided itself on holding the powerful accountable, was now working hand in hand with the establishment to protect its own. As the takedown continued, Maher didn't shy away from pointing out the broader implications of this double standard. He questioned how much longer Americans could tolerate a system that so clearly catered to the powerful and left everyone else to fend for themselves. He reminded viewers that this wasn't just about Hunter Biden, it was about a system that bent the rules for the elite while leaving everyone else to suffer the consequences of their actions. Maher's words were a wake-up call, a reminder that democracy only works when everyone is held to the same standard, regardless of their position or political affiliation. And if the woke movement truly believed in fairness and equality, they would need to acknowledge that sometimes the other side wins. It's not a conspiracy. It's democracy at work. But until the left accepts that simple fact, Maher warned, they would continue to undermine their own credibility and perpetuate the very hypocrisy they claim to abhor. In the end, Maher's takedown of Whoopi Goldberg wasn't just a moment of television drama. It was a powerful statement about the state of American politics, media, and culture. It was a call to stop pretending that the system is fair when it's so clearly rigged to protect the powerful. And it was a reminder that the truth is out there, no matter how hard the media and the woke left try to hide it. Bill Maher's words were a challenge to anyone still clinging to the illusion of a just society, and a warning that the truth will always find a way to break through, no matter how hard the powers that be try to suppress it. Whoopi may have thought she could get away with her narrative, but Bill Maher wasn't about to let her, or anyone else, off the hook. He exposed the hypocrisy, called out the double standards, and made it clear that no one, not even the powerful and influential, is immune from the truth. And in doing so, he reaffirmed his place as one of the most unapologetically honest voices in the world of politics and media.